One day in 2005, I was stuck in traffic on my way home from work. And my most pressing concern was how quickly I could get to the family and home that I love. And my phone rang. And it was my doctor, Dr. Jennifer Wu. And the first thing she said was, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm on my way home from work, stuck in traffic. I can talk." And she replied, "You might want to pull over to the side of the road." And when I pulled over, she told me, "You have cancer." And in that moment, everything in my world changed forever. And although I had been expecting to hear this news ever since my husband had found a lump, I still wasn't prepared. There's no preparation for what you will feel and what you will think in your road to Damascus moment. And what I felt was shock, fear, and desperation. And the desperation led me to wonder whether there was anything I could do. Was there anywhere I could go? Was there an amount that I could pay to take the cancer away? But there's no exit from cancer. There's no off road, no detour. There's only through. And I considered then the available or potential or what seemed logical options and emotions that I could have had as a result of hearing that news. For example, I could have gotten angry. Getting angry at God after a cancer diagnosis is common. What kind of loving, caring God let you get cancer? I could have felt resentful. Why me? Why me? I work hard. I live right. I go to church. I could have felt sorry for myself. Or I could have given up and driven my car from the side of the road straight into the nearest tree. But giving up and feeling sorry for myself just were not options, and anger and resentment are bluster to cover what we're really feeling, which is fear. And I was terrified. But I realized that in order to survive, I was going to have to marshal all of my strength and all of my skills. And I had a lot to live for. So I developed a laser focus on what really mattered, which was my family and not dying from cancer. And I began 5 years of cancer treatment that included monthly injections in my stomach with a 4-inch needle. And to receive those injections, I would go to the infusion suite in the cancer center, where the absolute strongest chemotherapy was administered. And I remember seeing patients there that weren't going to make it. And I remember seeing patients there that weren't going to make it, and they knew they weren't going to make it. But they were fighting anyway. And they showed me what I needed to do. And they inspired me. And so I made a pledge to those fighters who inspire that if I survived, I would make my life matter. And that I would pay it forward. Which led in part to me speaking to you here tonight. And I continued the path in front of me that began on the side of the road. And my treatment options were good. And my prognosis was even better. And eventually, I was declared cancer-free. And I was so grateful. I was so grateful. I was grateful that I had been diagnosed with cancer when science and medicine were closer than ever to a cure, and not 15 or 20 years earlier when a breast cancer diagnosis could have been as deadly as cyanide. I was grateful for all kinds of things. I was grateful that that day I had a car to pull over to the side of the road. And I was grateful that I had a job that required me to commute and get stuck in traffic. And most of all, I was grateful for my family and my home, because not everyone has that. And I had known for years that tomorrow is not promised. So we need to make the most of every day, which led me to wonder whether I had been a good steward of the precious time that I'd already been given. And I began to take stock, a gratitude self-audit. So let me ask you, if you received your own call on the side of the road, what might your gratitude self-audit look like? Are you paid in full? Or might you have a few gratitude IOUs? Well, how do we even know? Well, to start with, let's consider that gratitude is made of two words: grateful, attitude. It's gratitude. But that implies that gratitude is an internal process, and I submit to you that gratitude is an action word, and that we manifest our gratitude to the world by what we do, not so much what we say. And I learned that gratitude can be like a new pair of glasses that strips away complacency and discontent and reveals how blessed we truly are. And most of all, gratitude is a gift that makes our lives feel so worthwhile, even when stuck in traffic. Even when stuck in traffic. Even with an empty basket, even with our endless to-do list. There's always something that we can be grateful for. Cancer forced me to consider my final arrangements decades too soon. And I wondered what I had given to the world compared to what I had received. And I wondered what would be the legacy I would leave behind, and would anybody grieve? But it turned out not too late. Because the fruit and the proof of gratitude is kindness and generosity. And when I realized how much I actually had, I decided to share the wealth. For example, I have been to so many funerals where flowers filled the room. So now, in gratitude, just because, I give flowers to people who are still alive to enjoy the bloom. And I began engaging in so many charitable acts that I completely lost count. But it turns out that's what gratitude looks like when it's turned inside out. But as I continued to explore gratitude, I recalled speaking to my 5-year-old son with a harsh tone, and meaningless arguments with my teenage daughter whenever she was home. And I wondered whether, after I was gone, would those be the words that lived on? To strangers, we say, please, please, thank you. How can I help? Words sometimes never spoken in our own homes to those we love the very best. I still had work to do because I still had gratitude IOUs. But considering gratitude reminded me of regret. Author Bronnie Ware wrote a best-selling book titled The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, and the number one regret was not living the life that they had wanted. And that's a regret shared by many who have received cancer diagnosis. And sadly, for some of them, it's too late. But not for me and you. So let's put gratitude to work. Let's put gratitude into my microphone. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay. Let's put gratitude into action and make it work. Take up that hobby. Make that career change. Spend more time with your friends and family or more time with you. Whatever it takes to prevent joining the ranks of the regretful. Live the life that you want in eternal gratitude. Because tomorrow is not promised. So let's make a difference and be the fighters that inspire. Because you never know when there might be another call on the side of the road. Thank you. Thank you.